The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt, so get ready, nerds, because we're talking The Falcon and Winter Soldier. Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about the new Disney Plus TV show, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm joined as always by my fantastic panel of nerds, starting with Matt Vader, 74. What's up, dude?
And you almost messed it up.
I almost messed it up. I got it back, though. Matt Vader, 74.
I'm here, man.
What's up?
Let's talk about this thing.
It's a thing. Jude.
We'll talk about things.
How you doing today?
I would like to be known as the boob stalker.
Okay.
Today.
Boob stalker. It's an awesome shirt. You can get that on saltynerdstore.com. Help support the podcast.
I didn't know that was a shirt.
It is. I'm also joined by Matthew Kadish. Welcome.
Okay, you guys ready to talk about this TV show?
Not really.
No.
You sound so resolute.
It's weird because I did.
Matthew Kadish, welcome to the show.
Okay. You guys ready to do this? No, I did enjoy the show, but I it's not like the most. It's not the most important thing in the world.
All
so
right, I'm gonna run the thing from here on out. After a word from these sponsors.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you'd like to support the podcast, go to saltynerdclub.com. There you can get access to all kinds of cool extra content as part of our Patreon team. We've got exclusive podcasts. Blooper reels is real big these days because we do a lot of goofy stuff. We got behind the scenes photos. You get to contact with the host of the podcast. You get to watch Matt Vader do some weird things with his hammer. And oh my God, he did it. I was worried he was going to do it, and he did it. Okay. That's saltynerdclub.com. Join our Patreon team. All right, Kadish, take it away. Tell us what the Falcon and Winter Soldier opening episode is all about, and we'll interrupt you and talk about the episode as we go.
All right, so I'm basically going to make this a little bit more concise than our normal kind of recap of the show, because honestly, like, I don't think anyone is going to be all that interested in going step by step through this. No. So this is the first episode of Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It is called New World Order. And this show is written and created by a gentleman named Malcolm Spellman. And Spellman, before this, he did a show called Truth Be Told, which was an Apple original series.
Which I don't think anyone saw.
Well, I tried watching it, but it was so boring, I just stopped caring. And he was also known for creating Empire, which is a Fox show about a rap record label type thing.
Yeah. I think it's fairly popular. I've never watched it, though.
Yeah, it was like Jesse Smollett and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one behind this show.
That explains a lot, actually.
So basically, we're going to... I just want to start off by asking you guys, overall, what was your general take on this episode in general as like the first episode of a new series? So Alex, what did you think of this episode overall?
Overall, I actually did enjoy this this episode. It was a nice getting reacquainted with the characters post Infinity War and Endgame. Falcon's getting back on his feet after being gone for 5 years. Winter Soldier, Bucky. I'm a sucker for Bucky. I really love his character. I think he's really cool. And this episode, although not really action-oriented with his character, I think dove a little bit more into his personal life. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the hell out of that. Like his interaction with the shrink and stuff like that, and then him trying to make amends with the old man. It caught me by surprise how much I really cared about Bucky's character. Falcon, eh.
All right, Vader, what did you think of this episode?
This is not what I wanted to watch. This show aside
Summed it up.
This show aside from the first 10 minutes where he's flying around in his wingsuit.
Yeah.
I just checked out. It did nothing for me. I don't know if I want to go too deep into why, but maybe we can talk on that later. Or do you want me to tell you now?
Whatever you feel like.
Okay. This isn't a superhero show. This isn't an Avengers show. This is a little bit of an action scene. And then we go into, I have PTSD problems and Falcon's social justice issues without getting a loan because he's black. I'm not down. It's not what I signed up for. I don't want that stuff in my superhero shows. I want to be entertained. I don't want to learn things. Entertain me. Okay. I don't care about their issues.
All right, Jude, what did you think of this episode?
Okay, so I'm probably going to get a little long-winded. You guys know that I loved WandaVision like so much, and that I going into this, like y'all said, I had to watch it, and I was like, I'm not really looking forward to this, and it was about what I thought it was going to be. Like, I'm interested in everything that's happening with the Winter Soldier. I think it's a very well written storyline. I think that everything that happened with Falcon was poorly written. There's like this shoved in family and family history and family business, and now we're struggling, and now, oh, there's all these like, that's how the bank laws worked before everybody showed back up. It just sounds like lazy bullshit writing.
Something to give him problems with.
It seems like they were trying lazily to make his storyline interesting, but all it succeeded in doing was making it like boring and nonsensical, because you cannot tell me that a superhero, and he's like got all these like government contracts, and he clearly works for the military. I don't know what branch. I want to say Air Force. Yeah. He has money and collateral, and so he can't get a loan. He's a superhero. He walked in, and the loan officer was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" And he's like, "I don't know, do you?"
Well,
it's like geeking out.
He walked into the bank, and there was a goofy little white.
It just seems like a poorly written storyline. Just given no thought to this character, and now we're all just supposed to jump behind him because he's in this show, but it's so badly written that it's almost infuriating, and I don't care.
Yeah, like you know, when we get into this, there's a part in the show where he takes his sister to a bank to try to get a loan for the family business, and they go through all the reasons why they're not going to give this guy a loan. I'm like, if you're a black superhero, all you have to say is, the minute I'm walking out of here, I'm going to find the nearest news camera and tell them that you refuse to loan to a black superhero.
In no fucking world is this happening.
Yeah. And regardless of that, Falcon would have money in a real world situation.
Yeah, of course Falcon would have money. I didn't. That's the thing, is I didn't buy.
It's so dumb.
His whole circumstance that he was in wasn't believable to me.
I hate this whole we have to dissect the finances of superheroes storyline. I hate it.
The sister's storyline, Falcon's sister, I bought that.
More believable.
Way more believable.
Yes. She's a widow. She has 2 kids. She had no support for 5 years. I get that.
Yeah.
However, I don't see how that applies to Falcon. He can't get a loan, and also, why can't he buy her out of this family business if he wants it so bad and she doesn't? I don't understand.
We'll get to that, but so
is it that I'm just like a princess on a pedestal that I don't fucking understand?
I don't know.
Or is this just shittily written?
It just seemed weird. It just seemed weird.
They're pandering and virtue signaling.
All right,
and
so
that's what they're doing.
We're going to get to some of these story issues in a minute, but the very first thing I want to talk about is the opening action scene, because the show basically opens up on a movie quality.
Oh, it's great!
Like action sequence, and it all has to do with Falcon trying to rescue a hijacked government official from an airplane by a kind of mercenary group called LAF. They never explain what LAF stands for. But ironically enough, it's led by this guy named George Batroc, who was the guy that Captain America faced off with in Captain America Winter Soldier when he went on that boat to rescue all the SHIELD hostages. So it was kind of interesting that they brought him back for Falcon's first foray into like solo territory.
Yeah, I'm really happy that they did do that, because I liked his character.
It seems like they put some.
And he's a badass MMA fighter, and it's cool that he's going to be in here.
So he's played by George St. Pierre, who was like a top tier MMA fighter. So I wanted to ask you guys, what did you think of the opening action scene where we get to see, Anthony Mackie in full Falcon mode, taking on all these different bad guys and flying around?
Mostly movie quality, except for one thing, and this is super nitpicky, and I understand if other people don't want to complain about this, but for me, he was flying at like a couple 100 miles an hour, and he landed on top of the plane, and there was like no wind, and he was just talking on his radio like there was no problem. It seemed real lazy to me.
Kadish was like, how does he keep his face from freezing?
He'd be like, you know, like flopping in the wind.
Anyone who's ever skydived
Or
your
motorcycle.
face is a mess.
Yeah. Like I honestly,
you know.
yeah, I was like, there's something just wasn't. And it's weird because I've never nitpicked that from the Marvel movies. So I don't know if I'm being overly critical about this TV show because it's never crossed my mind when I've watching the Marvel movies and he's flying around with Iron Man and stuff. Never bothered me. But when I saw him on top of an airplane hanging on like Tom Cruise in that one movie he was in, I'm like, something about this doesn't seem right.
Here's the thing. When we're watching a superhero Marvel show, like all of us are adults living vicariously through this content that we've been ingesting for 100 friggin' years, and we want to love it.
Yeah.
And when we don't, we get irate.
This is true.
Vader, what did you think about this opening scene?
I don't worry about that nitpicky stuff like you do, but whether his face is flapping in the wind or not, I don't care. I thought the sequence with he was fighting the bad guys in his Falcon suit was great.
Okay.
It was movie quality. It was good. I enjoyed it.
One of my issues is that, so Anthony Mackie, his character, he was a, retired like test pilot veteran when he met Captain America and Captain America Winter Soldier. And now he's running around like he's got like super soldier serum in his veins.
Yeah.
I think his most famous fight up to this point was with Ant-Man in the Ant-Man movie, and he didn't beat Ant-Man at all. So like I'm sitting here watching him pull all these like crazy moves, and I'm like, can anyone with the like wing pack do that stuff? Or why is it just why is he so special that he's like the Falcon? And
yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, why, if this is like a military program and it's basically just like a suit that you put your soldier into, why aren't there 100 Falcons? Why aren't there 1,000? Why isn't he just like, I was the first Falcon and I'm going to train all of the other Falcons? That would be a more interesting story than just trying to be like, he's the only one who can wear this suit.
Well, okay, so they kind of hinted a little bit later on that his was the only one that was like Stark technology.
Okay.
And he was the only one who kind of understood how to work on it. And he said in the show, like, every time I hand this over to the ops guys at Air Force, they freaking screw it up.
Well, I know that in Captain America Winter Soldier, he talked about how it was a experimental government like suit.
Yeah.
And he had been in part of the program to test pilot the things, and that's why he was one of the few people who knew how to work it. But at this point, like if Stark has streamlined the technology, it's like, why aren't there more guys like him out there operating, especially for the military? Because you'd think the military wouldn't like.
Yeah, like there's other Winter Soldiers, but there's no other Falcon.
There are other Winter Soldiers, huh?
Yeah.
That's true. Well, they're all dead now, aren't they? They got shot.
Are they?
They all got shot.
Knows?
Who knows?
But
We'll
I
see.
mean, how many Black Widows were trained in Russia?
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
And I want to say, like, this whole thing with him giving up the shield and then
we're going to get to that.
Okay, fine.
All right. So basically, after Falcon rescues this guy who was, attempted to be kidnapped by the LAF, we meet his kind of assistant guy who's military intelligence. His name is Joaquin. And they meet at a cafe and they set up this concept of the new bad guys who are called the Flag Smashers. And they basically have this like VR like signature that Joaquin shows Falcon. And these are guys who basically think that the world was better during the blip. And these guys are going to come in later in the episode. What do you guys think of this setup for the Flag Smashers?
I thought it was cool as hell. I thought the whole like cell phone, like looking for this secret little handprint, augmented reality. So I love that kind of thing. It was almost, was it flash mobs is what they call them when they get a group of people unconnected together. That aspect of it I thought was really cool, really clever. The whole idea that somebody's going to be like, it was better when there was less people here. 100%. Yeah. So I could get why they would be able to get people on their side for thinking that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people in this world, in this universe, that was like, my life was better when there was less people around. I mean,
probably was.
I think that all the time. So I don't doubt. I thought it was a really great setup, and later on in the show we'll explain why I was so relieved.
Interest rates were awesome.
Yeah, right. I really enjoyed the setup. What do you think, Vader?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I have a lot to comment on it. It was pretty cool.
Cool. Jude?
What was the question?
The bad guys, the setup for the bad guys.
The Legion of Asshole Folks is what
Yes.
I'm calling them because I don't know what they stand for.
Less people.
Less assholes fucking around. I don't know.
No, that's the LAF. We're talking about the Flag Smashers.
Okay, the Flag Smashers.
That's exactly what they stand for.
Don't know.
I'm going on record.
The Flag
saying it.
Smashers. I will say that they need a new freaking name. Flag Smashers.
The Flag
instead.
Smashers. Yeah. I mean, I believed it. It was very like Pokemon. Like how people, like people
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, people are like taking their phones and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a thing over there that only I can see on my phone. It was very like in reality.
Okay.
I believed it.
Cool.
I thought it was cool. I assumed that was like a robbery that they were doing. Am I wrong? Okay.
We'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it.
All right. So next time we see Falcon, he is at the Smithsonian, and he's doing a ceremony to honor Captain America by donating Captain America's shield to the Smithsonian because he doesn't feel like it belongs to him. And there he meets up with James Rhodes, or War Machine. And Rhodes wants to know why he isn't taking up the mantle of Captain America. And he just says that he feels like the shield always belonged to Steve, and Steve Rogers is the only Captain America. And that everyone just is looking for someone to fix the world. And basically, it's weird because like they say like allies are now enemies, and like everything's topsy-turvy. We don't really know what the landscape is after like the blip and everyone comes back, but they're kind of implying that like there's a lot of political turmoil going on in the world post Endgame.
Oh, I'm sure there would
Yeah,
be.
this is some bullshit. I feel like they duped Falcon into giving the shield back because they already knew they wanted to give it to some like white fucking version of Captain America. They had to like regurgitate the old Captain America that we had, and he's got to look the exact same way.
Oh, he doesn't look exactly.
No, he looks terrible.
I mean, he looks close enough. I mean, it's Wyatt Russell, right?
Yeah.
I think. Is it Wild Russell?
Yeah, it's Wyatt Russell.
What?
He doesn't look like him.
Doesn't
I
look
love
like
that
him at
guy.
all.
But anyway, Cap gave that to him. That was his.
Yeah.
And like when that military guy walks up to him and is like, "You made the right decision." Oh, that just made my throat
Yeah, but it was
want to
his
like
decision.
regurgitate it a little bit. Like he was like steered in order to do that because we already had a purpose for that. And if you didn't do it, we were going to take it from you.
I didn't get
I
that.
hated it.
I didn't get that at all. I got the idea that Falcon was just like, he just doesn't feel worthy of it.
He doesn't. And it's
That's his decision,
it's
though.
his, I'm such a good guy. I'm going to go ahead and do this. But everyone else is a bad guy and doesn't respect him and doesn't want him to be the new Captain America because he's Captain or because he's Falcon.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
So we've got to design our own Captain America, and this is what he looks like. It's fucking bullshit.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
That's way stronger of an
I
opinion
know.
than I thought
I'm
you had.
sorry. I'm getting irate.
Chew, calm down.
All right, so our next scene is
simmering.
basically we get to see a flashback of the Winter Soldier assaulting a hotel where he takes out a bunch of bodyguards, kills his target, and then kills a poor innocent bystander
This
who was
was
just trying
so
to get into his
cool.
room.
This was such a
And
badass
so
scene.
bad.
It's so freaking
It's so
good.
sad, but awesome.
It was so awesome. I love
I'm
Bucky.
so torn. I love Bucky.
The realization that comes later in the episode really makes this part.
And this is the thing about
Stand
his
out.
character is that there's so much about him that's like good and bad.
Yeah.
And you're like at war with yourself, whether or not you like him or whether or not you're on board with him or whether or not he's a good guy or a bad guy. And there's just so many layers to his character. I wish they had done that with Falcon because I don't care.
Yeah. Bucky's way better of a character in this show. And this opening scene where they're going through where they're like a hotel or something, badass.
Yeah.
He's like hitting people with swords and throwing knives and pulling people through walls.
He's just like
Freaking
jumping
awesome.
over banisters and landing the next floor down like
awesome.
nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You've got nothing for this show, huh?
I don't feel a lot of love for this show now.
You felt this way about WandaVision too.
I kind of did.
We'll see where it goes. All right, what happens next, Kadish?
All right, so after the hotel scene, we see that it was a nightmare memory that Bucky was having. He then goes to his therapist, and he kind of reveals that he's trying to make amends by going to all the people that he had contact with while Winter Soldier and trying to basically kind of, you know, set things right that he did when he was like a bad guy. And this is part of his, part of the terms of his pardon. And Raynor keeps kind of, you know, pushing him to reveal stuff to her, and he's very closed off. And this is basically the new Winter Soldier that we're getting is a very contrite and haunted individual. What did you guys think of his little therapy session?
I liked this. I loved the relationship between him and his therapist. It was basically it was like the AA 12 steps, only in 3.
Yeah. But I love the back and forth that they had. He's at one point in time, she's like, that's utter bullshit. And he's like, you're a terrible shrink.
Yeah.
It's like so funny.
And like if he doesn't behave, she gets out the notebook. And
he's like, oh, not the notebook again.
Okay.
It was good. I love that. The back and forth between them was really good.
I thought it was very believable.
You didn't care about that?
No.
God dang it, man.
What
about you, Kadish?
It's a trope.
It's a trope?
I feel bad about what I did in the past, so I'm going to go talk to this shrink, and then I'm going to do my 12.
That's not a trope.
I'm going to do my 12-step bullshit and go make amends. And
it's not a trope unless they fall in love.
Cry. It's like, it's just not what I want.
Okay.
It's not what I want.
Well, you have to have some character building.
This isn't a fucking superhero show. I don't care that he feels bad about what he did when he was under mind control.
But that's the whole premise of Civil War.
It's not for me, man. This therapy. Who fucking cares?
Okay.
I don't want to see your therapy session. I want to go see you do some superhero shit.
My lady brain demands to be seen.
I don't fucking care about trauma and you feeling bad about yourself.
Sets up
I don't
a character.
This is one of the things that I feel very torn about.
He was set up in 20 fucking movies before this show came out. What do we need to get into
after
his brain
the blip?
For? So
things are calm. This is the calm after the storm.
I think it's very interesting that Winter Soldier retains memory of like all of the deeds that he did while he was Winter Soldier. Now he's just Bucky, but he still has all of that memory of all of the things that he did, and he has so much guilt over it. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, me too. Kadish, what happens next?
All right, so we basically see how Bucky kind of takes down a corrupt senator that he had kind of put into power when he was Winter Soldier. And we see that he's basically going down a list of people that he's trying to make amends with. And one of them is a guy named Yori Nakajima. And the first time we meet Yori, he's arguing with a guy named Unique.
This douchebag.
Use my trash can.
Oh my God.
Putting his trash in Yori's trash
can. If you
can.
have to introduce yourself by spelling it out and giving an analogy about your name, you are an asshole. Get out of here. The blip should have kept you.
So Bucky basically meets up with Yori, goes out to lunch with him. And at lunch, Yori kind of like hooks Bucky up with like their waitress.
Oh, that was cute.
Carly. And basically, like, we don't know what Bucky's relationship is to Yori, but when Bucky goes on the date with Carly, she starts talking about how, like, kind of traumatized Yori has been since the death of his son.
I think it's really sweet that you're spending time with this old man that I see you with all the time in my restaurant. And yada, yada, yada. She's not reading the room. And she's like, you know, when you lose your child, it's the worst thing that would ever happen to you. And there's no word for it, not like widow or orphan. And, oh, where'd you go?
Yeah, so when she's kind of talking about how traumatized Yori was, Bucky gets up and leaves. And he goes to see Yori at his apartment. And it turns out that the guy that he killed in the hotel who was trying to get into his room was Yori's son. Yeah. And you realize that he's befriended him to try to make amends, but he hasn't had the courage to tell him that he was the one who killed his son.
Yeah.
He should not. He should not.
No, he shouldn't. But what a great freaking setup for that character.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's more of what we liked about the Winter Soldier, that movie, how Bucky was torn between killing Iron Man's mom and dad. Like it's more of that, but on like almost like a more personal level, I think, because he's trying to spend time with this old man, and he's like the only friend this guy has. And
it's because he's 100 years old, and this guy's also 1,000 years old, and he's the only guy that he can relate to. Exactly. And he's like, hey man, you like Pinochle? I fucking love Pinochle.
I haven't danced since 1943.
Yeah.
Feels like.
And he goes on a date with this poor girl, and he brings her flowers, and she's like, oh, that's so old fashioned. You're so cute.
Yeah.
How old are you? And he's like 106. And she's like,
I like it.
Bitch, people are 106. Like, read the America. There are superheroes that are real old.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is that everybody acts like they don't know who he is.
Yeah.
But he's
I'm not buying that.
pretty big name in the superhero genre.
Yeah. What's with your gloves? I have poor circulation.
I have
you're a
a
superhero.
I have a
or
metal
supervillain.
hand.
Yeah.
In all honesty, the Winter Soldier was not as well known as like someone in the Avengers.
Okay, but you know about Iron Man, and you know that there's like a team, and you know that there was a blip. So I'm not just buying like I have poor circulation.
Bucky was not like his face was not publicized, is what I'm saying. So it makes sense that people would know who he is.
True.
So anyway, we go back to basically Falcon's story where he goes to Louisiana, meets up with his sister. There's this whole thing about Falcon. He meets up with his sister. There's this whole thing about them selling the family boat, and he doesn't want her to sell it, but for some reason he can't buy it from her.
Yeah, there's all of this like shoehorned backstory.
I don't need your charity.
It's just drama for the sake of drama.
It's not well developed.
Like Bucky's drama, and I know you kind of took a dump on it, but like the trauma with his therapist and dealing with PTSD,
I understand
like
what they want to do with Bucky.
Yeah,
I just don't like it.
Okay,
I don't think
that's fair.
But you believe it, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like Bucky's backstory and his dealing with problems is believable.
Mm-hmm.
Falcon,
it's more interesting than what they're doing with Falcon.
Falcon's drama just feels like it doesn't. Like, why? Why is this a problem?
It just feels like fake shit that they're like just being like, hey, go along with this, okay?
We have to have something that Falcon struggles with.
Yeah, why not put more effort into it and make it believable, make it interesting? It's just supposed to be like, oh, we're this poor family from New Orleans. Okay, well, why? Why should I care other than you're a superhero and, oh, it turns out you're poor? No, I don't buy it.
And why isn't she like using her famous brother to help promote like her shrimping
put his
industry?
face on the sign?
He would probably be okay with it too. He's like, hell yeah, sell the shit out of it.
I did enjoy like the back and forth between Falcon and I don't know his real name. What's his name? Sam. Between Sam and the banker when he was like trying to like schmooze him, and then all of a sudden when the guy was like, oh, I can't approve you, but can I get a selfie? And he was like, are you kidding
serious?
me? I enjoyed like I think that it was well acted, but the story itself is not good.
You know what's weird is like, so Sam's like, I ran the numbers and I'm really confident that we can get a loan. And then like, you know, if you actually ran the numbers, wouldn't you know what this guy is going to tell you?
Well, I mean, I guess he ran the numbers based on what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. It was old rules, and now I guess because of the blip and because of billions of people coming back, the banks all of a sudden are like, we can't approve all these loans.
Which is weak.
It's
you're going to penalize 5 billion people.
But like, how many banks did Stark own? Like, he could have gone to Gwyneth Paltrow and been like, hey, can one of your banks give my sister a loan or something?
Yeah,
can we send a Raven to Clark Kent?
That's the thing is like, the main crust of this is that Falcon is broke, and I just don't buy it.
Yeah, especially after that opening action scene. Like, I would turn to Jude when we watched it the second time. I was like, you can't tell me he's not getting paid doing this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he even says he's got like government contracts with the Air Force.
He has no collateral for a loan.
It doesn't make any sense.
Get out of here.
It was a poorly thought out freaking drama.
Yeah,
no,
and the whole thing about new bank restrictions because 500 million people just suddenly showed up from the blip. It's like, what? Did personal finance change that much? I mean, like the banks seemed very contrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
Like, I've just survived a year of COVID, and I know that like banking restrictions are getting real loosey-goosey. Like, introduce 5 million people. So you got to make some new rules for leniency so that people can survive and not just be like, oh, sorry, there's extra people here. You're out of luck. Sorry, kid. It's stupid.
Yeah,
it's bad writing.
Yeah, but no bank would turn down a loan to a black superhero.
He's a superhero.
Yeah. They even the loan officer even says like, dude, you're a superhero.
Yeah.
But I'm still not going to give you a loan.
It's bad writing. It's bad writing. It's bad. I hate it.
Okay. What happens after that, Katie?
All right. So we go to Switzerland where Joaquin is at a, what do you call it? A flash mob for the Flag Smashers. And it turns out it's actually a cover for a heist. And he tries to stop the main Flag Smasher who basically kicks his butt. And after he recovers, he calls up Sam and he says like, hey, you know, there's something weird going on here with the Flag Smashers. And Sam has an inkling that they might be superpowered.
This is where the show really put my mind at ease because I think when we reacted to the trailer, I was like, these freaking bad guys better not be just some Joe Schmo going up against the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
He's as strong as Cap. So anybody that fights him had better be on level. Otherwise, I'm not going to be down for it.
Yeah, I feel like this is a new Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and they proved it in this scene.
They kind of hinted. They like kind of.
Well, I mean, he kicked somebody like a football field away.
Yeah.
It was basically like, yeah, they're super powered. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I can relax a little bit because the one main worry that I had about the show is gone. So
Okay, so I had the opposite reaction. I was like, okay, well, if they can make new Winter Soldiers, why the hell can't they make new Falcons? It's just a suit.
They can't.
It's like a backpack.
why are you guys going back to that?
Because it's a very obvious flaw in the logic of this universe.
I don't know, man. He's the skilled pilot.
Falcon's Batman with wings.
Yeah.
He has
Well,
no- he
he's
has
not
no
as brooding
superpowers.
as Batman, though. He's happier than
He has
he
no
is.
superpowers.
I don't know. He can't get a loan, so.
He's pretty, he's pretty poor.
Batman could get a loan.
Batman could definitely get
Yeah,
along.
he doesn't need one. At least make him rich.
And you know what I thought was weird is, so like there's a scene earlier on in the show where Sam is basically repairing Red Wing, which is a super advanced Stark Tech drone.
Mhm.
And later on in the movie, he's trying to fix the boat to his family's engine and he can't do it.
I had an even more nitpick about that scene. He's like trying to repair that thing, and his friend, what's his name, is just like,
Joaquin.
hey, can I help you? And he's like, oh, don't touch it. It's super glitchy. And then at the end of the scene, he just scoops it up off the table and walks away. What?
He like shoves it in his
It's
backpack.
so delicate. No one can touch it, but you
Well, no.
literally just did this with your hand and
Don't-
walked off.
Don't touch my shit.
You scrunched
Yeah,
it up
it
in
was-
your hand.
It was more of like a don't touch my shit kind of a thing. Then I thought it was like some super delicate process
But here he is repairing this like super advanced military technology.
on a table at a bar.
And he can't fix a boat engine.
Yeah.
I will give you that technology and industrial engineering are two completely different things. However, there are some flaws with both of those scenes.
All right. And basically the episode ends on a major cliffhanger where Sam's sister comes into the room after he gets off the line with Joaquin and says, Sam, you got to see this.
I have another issue with
turns
this.
the TV on, and it's a newscast of a ceremony where the government is announcing a new Captain America. And we see a brand new Cap come out carrying the shield that Sam had donated to the Smithsonian. What did you guys think of this ending?
Okay, so
Jude wants to go. Go
I
ahead,
do.
Jude.
I'm fired up. So
Too much whiskey.
Yeah. I'm sober
how
now.
dare you?
There's no such thing as too much whiskey. I'm out. I'm out.
Okay, so no, I had a big problem with this because I have a problem with like scenes reacting before the audience gets to, and the sister came in and was like, you gotta watch this, and it was basically just like a news conference, and you didn't know what was happening until Sam was already watching it, and then they announced what was happening.
So there's no
It
reason
was
for
just
her.
yeah, it was
be all
just some
loud.
guy talking on the news. And nothing was happening until they said, here's our new Captain America. And that's when you want your audience to react. Like she reacted like some shit was going down and they screwed you over, man, before they announced that they had actually screwed him over. And they did. And it totally took away from the scene when that actually happened.
That's interesting. You're right. She did react before.
It really
actually
annoyed
happened.
me.
That's weird.
I don't know if you can tell.
I can tell. You're really hot about this show.
There's just it could have been really good. I didn't want to watch this show, but I did in hopes that it would be good. And this is what I always say this, like I want to be able to invest in a show. And if I can't do that, then I'm mad at you. And I'm very mad at this show.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of have the same feeling I had when we first started watching WandaVision, because I hated the first 2 episodes of WandaVision. And I feel like it was a bad start to a series that got good and then kind of didn't stick to the landing. I get the same sense with this, where like I don't feel this was a good first episode.
Yeah.
You know,
I need more. I'm sorry. I'm kind of quiet. I'm kind of checked out. I just, I think, I just need more. I can't even give it a grade right now. If I had to give it a grade right now, it'd be like a 3, because this show's doing nothing for me.
Well, I feel like the difference between this and WandaVision is that WandaVision started off weird and they were like, hey, this is going to be weird. Go
Yeah.
with us. This is just like starting off and this is just like, hey, this is how we're starting. And I
Yeah.
just don't see where it's going to go, that it could change in the way that they're like formatting it or like putting effort into storylines. I just feel like they're just like being like, hey, this is what's going on with Falcon. Go along with it. And no, I'm not going to. Make it interesting. Make me believe it.
I think it's going to get better because I am intrigued by the bad guys that they're setting up, these flag smashing
I
dudes
hope I'm wrong. I
with the
want to be
masks
wrong.
and in the red palm print and how they're like somehow supercharged super soldiers or whatever. I'm like, okay, that's got my
Well,
my
at least
interest.
that one guy is.
Yeah, the one dude. And I think from the promotional material, they're bringing back one of my favorite MCU villains. And I'm really stoked to see him again because he's kind of like the
Baron Zemo.
Yeah, Zemo.
Yeah.
From Civil War.
Okay.
I love his character. I think he's super cool, and I like how he kind of like masterminded the whole Civil War thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. There's a lot of potential that this show has. I will agree with you. As a first episode, it might have been a couple missteps here and there, but the action was on point. I really like Bucky, and I even like. I know Matt Vader isn't really into it, but I really liked Bucky's like backstory and his conversation with the Shrink and how he's kind of dealing with his new personality that he's trying to remake his brand. I guess he's trying not to be the Winter Soldier anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I want to see more of that. I do agree with you guys though that the Falcon stuff is a bit of a stretch, and
Yeah.
I just didn't. It wasn't believable.
Yeah, I could have this just be about Winter Soldier
Yeah.
and be into it.
Yeah,
But everything that they're doing with Falcon, it's not enough.
I had a weird thing with some of the direction in this episode. So it was directed by Carrie Scogland, who's done like, she's pretty much a TV director. She's done a lot of TV. And when Bucky was in the therapist's office, almost the entire scene was shot in like extreme close up of like their eyes. And it was a really odd decision. And we had just come off this very kind of elaborate action scene, which was extremely well shot. And then you go to these extremely poorly shot, like intimate scenes. And I just found it very odd. It was like a weird kind of uneven directing style. And it was kind of off-putting for me personally.
I didn't mind it. I actually really liked the ultra close-up stuff. I felt like it was making the scene a little bit more personal. And I think the difference between the big action set piece with Falcon and the real close-up intimate scene with Bucky, I feel like that's just showing the different places that these two characters are in. And eventually they're going to meet and go from there.
I am interested to see like how this like relationship evolves, and like clearly they I mean, obviously they know each other, and clearly like they're in touch with each other because Sam keeps texting him and he keeps avoiding it. Yeah. I wonder what's going to bring them together and how that's going to evolve. I would like to see more about Bucky.
Yeah.
And I hope that I get on board with whatever they're doing with Sam's storyline. But right now, like, I just don't care. And I feel like they're just like kind of shoving it down everyone's throat. Like, you should care about this. But why?
Yeah. If anybody's going to be broke, I think it would be Bucky.
Yeah. How is he surviving?
He wasn't getting paid by the Russian government to do those hit jobs.
Is he on Social Security?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I don't buy that Falcon is broke, but
Yeah.
I would if they leaned on that with Bucky. I'm like, oh yeah, where else would he? He's not getting any money.
No.
He's
Yeah.
not. He hasn't been in the American system.
It seems like he can get like technology that can remote control like actual cars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
it's really weird. They
Yeah.
accidentally swapped the scripts for the two characters. All right, guys. Final thoughts. Give it a grade. Vader, you were like just what, 2 out of 5?
3.
3 out of 5.
I need more.
That's pretty good for.
Huh. Yeah, that's not bad.
3 out of 10.
Oh.
That's awful. Okay, Jude, give it a grade. What do you think for this first opening?
I don't know. I feel like I need to dissect it because I really like what's happening with Bucky and I really don't like what's happening with Falcon. So I'll give it a 2.5. Split down the middle.
Yep.
On a scale of 5.
Okay,
Okay.
Kiddish.
2 out of 5 for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I feel like there's potential for it, but I'm getting WandaVision flashbacks where it starts off crappy, it gets good, and then it ends crappy. So
We've
We'll
been
see.
burned.
yes, we have.
I'm gonna give it. I'm with Jude, right down the middle, 2.5. I love everything with Bucky. Awesome. The action scenes, awesome. But the heart of the show is supposed to be Falcon.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
So 2.5.
Why is he the heart of the show?
Well, he's
It's a Falcon and Winter Soldier.
I know, but they leaned pretty heavily on.
I think another issue is that Falcon and Winter Soldier weren't together in this episode.
No.
And I think a lot of the series is going to depend on their kind of, frenemy type
Yeah.
vibe. And that's what I think this was missing.
I
There's no lethal weapon
I want
in
to
this.
see Avengers doing Avengers shit.
I can't wait for the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers handshake, arm wrestle scene
Oh yeah, okay.
when they finally come together.
You son of a bitch. We'll get there. I think it has potential. I honestly think it's going to get better. The
I hope
farther
it
we go.
does.
I hope so too. But all right, guys, that's our review for the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and us talking about the show, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the little bell notification so that you can get notifications when we put out new content every single day, guys. We got blooper reels, shorts. We've got other random stuff that we talk about and we cut out of the main podcast and put it out onto the interwebs, and lots of fun stuff. Hash brown it. Help support the podcast, guys. Vader, where can they find you on the socials?
At Matt Vader 74 on the Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Yeah.
Right on. Jude, where can they find you?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
All right. And Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com over on Amazon.
All right. And I'm the host of the Salty Nerd Podcast. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. And as always, stay salty, my friends.